This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, an Otago Polytechnic lecturer and volunteer firefighter prepares for a stair climb challenge. A new venue is found for a popular museum exhibition. And friends of Dunedin musician and lawyer Malcolm Black prepare to release his posthumous album. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Climbing to the top of the Sky Tower is hard enough, but one Dunedin firefighter is taking it to another level. An Otago Polytechnic lecturer and volunteer firefighter is set to test his mettle in the Man of Steel Challenge.
Kitting up for action. Otago Polytechnic lecturer and firefighter Brian Freeman is training to be amongst those set to climb Auckland's Sky Tower as a fundraiser. However, he's choosing to do it old school style.
And that is carrying a steel cylinder instead of the usual. So steel cylinder is an old style thing that we don't use these days. We've got composite cylinders which are 5 kilograms lighter. So basically we're adding 5 kilograms to the kit that we're carrying, and it also involves climbing an extra 10 flights of stairs.
Each year, firefighters from around New Zealand climb the Sky Tower in Auckland to raise money for Leukemia and Blood Cancer New Zealand. The Otago Polytechnic lecturer is one of 100 firefighters who will be participating in the Firefighter of Steel Challenge, a longer and harder climb than usual. He's done the standard challenge before and knows what he's in for.
You can imagine at the start we all take off at quite a rush. It's adrenaline, it's going, but as you get further on, you're getting hot. There are drink stations somewhere along the line, and there are medical staff in case anybody has any problems, but as you just get harder and harder, you just have to keep going.
Freeman is due to climb 61 flights of stairs, 1,400 steps in all, whereas the main Sky Tower Challenge event involves climbing 51 flights, or 1,103 steps, carrying 25 kgs of gear. He's realistic about his expectations and is not expecting to beat the person who's won the event for the last few years.
No, the record, well, I don't know for the Man of Steel. I think you'd have to look up the record, but I believe it's like 8 or 10 minutes. Somebody's done it that fast in all the gears. And it's the same guy, he's won it every year for the last so many years. And so yeah, I'm not sure if he's doing it this year, but he's done it every other year.
For training, he's started climbing the stairs of the University of Otago's School of Business. However, he knows how he'll be at the end of the race up the stairs.
By the time you get to the top, you're about finished.
He's raised more than $1,000 in donations so far, before the event takes place on May 22nd. In Dunedin, The South Today.
A man who bet his friend to death with a cricket bat and dumped his body north of Dunedin has avoided a sentence of life imprisonment without parole. 45-year-old Brent Bacon was murdered in a house in Lock Street 2 years ago by John Collins. The murder represented Collins' second strike under the 3 strikes legislation. He first came for indecent assault 6 years ago, but the High Court at Dunedin today ruled a whole-of-life term would be grossly disproportionate. Collins has been jailed for life with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. A popular exhibition shown at Dunedin's Toy Tour Museum in 2016 is back after touring museums across the country. Called Slice of Life, the exhibition shows how household rooms looked in the various decades over the last half-century.
New Zealand International Science Festival director Dan Hendra helps empty a container load of items that was originally on display at Dunedin's Toy Tour Museum in 2016 and has now come back from touring museums around the country. Called Slice of Life, it's set to pop up as a free exhibition at the former Smith City building in South Dunedin, with individual rooms echoing the different decades of the last 50 years.
Toitu Early Settlers Museum and myself worked on an exhibition back in 2015, which was at Toitu in 2016. And that was the seeds for this exhibition. We wanted again to celebrate the study members, but also sort of highlight some of the social change that's happened over the years. When our study members were born, there was pretty much zero unemployment in New Zealand. By the time they reached 18, there was over 280,000 people unemployed in New Zealand. When they started, there was no such thing as the internet. The sort of changes that have happened over their lifetime are huge. So one of the things that we did was we set up rooms for each decade of the study members' lives. So 70s, 80s, 90s and 2000s. And we filled those rooms with items from the right era. And in front of the rooms there's display cases with sort of iconic images or items. So really it's all about reminiscence. One of the things that we realised when we finished the exhibition was that people really got a kick out of looking at their own lives and remembering their own histories.
The exhibition is a tribute to all the people who have allowed themselves to be regularly monitored for the past 49 years in what is called the Dunedin Study.
The team have been following 1,000 babies born at Queen Mary Hospital between March 1972 and April 1973. Those 1,000 people are now considered the most studied people in the world. They've been seen at 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 18, 21, 26, 32 and 38, and most recently at age 45.
Sean Hogan says the Dunedin study has been groundbreaking, with researchers getting insights into how external factors can affect a person's life.
Our study members have impacted how we understand mental illness, how we treat people who get into trouble, particularly as youths. Just about every area of the human condition has been explored and reported on. So the study has changed how life is for everybody.
The Slice of Life exhibition is set to run through June and July at the former Smith City store in South Dunedin. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A mixture of milk and mud covered a rural Southland road this afternoon when a milk tanker crashed. The crash occurred on Woodstock Road in Dakar, halfway between Falconer Road and Lawndaker Road. Police were notified just before 1 this afternoon. There were numerous fire appliances at the scene as well as an ambulance and police. A police officer at the scene says the driver had been taken to hospital with a hurt knee. A temporary road closure was put in place. 2 years ago, as Dunedin musician and lawyer Malcolm Black was dying, he penned an album, Songs for the Family. The recordings from 2019 Black made with friends are about to be released, with proceeds going to researching the disease which claimed the songwriter's life at age 58.
For today, they'll remember his smile. In 2019, songwriter and lawyer Malcolm Black returned to Dunedin following a cancer diagnosis which claimed his life in May of that year. Drummer John Hodge says it was a memorable time.
Well, he was a nice guy, yeah, a lovely guy, and making the album was very personal, and yeah, it was, some nights was, we all had to have a hug in the end, and it was a pleasure too, because we got to play our own parts and kind of just put in what we wanted to put in to make the album, so it feels good.
Guitarist Jeff Dickey says Malcolm Black asked him to put together a crew of musicians to record an album, so Black could leave it for his family.
And we did some recording at my music room, but we did it really roughly. And then out of the blue he goes, well, why don't we do this? He was pleased with it, but he said, why don't we do this properly? Why don't I get my friend from London to come over, Nigel Stone, who's done Peter Jackson's movies and all these other things? And we sort of looked at each other and thought, well, that's going to happen.
Dickey says they'd had their doubts whether even Malcolm could get recording engineer Nigel Stone. However, Dickey says he was very pleased to be proven wrong.
But Malcolm being Malcolm, one thing he was brilliant at was just organising stuff. He didn't talk about it, he just did it. 2 weeks later, this guy turns up at my place.
The bandmates who joined Malcolm Black to record Songs for the Family are being joined on stage by fellow musician Steve Larkins, who says it's an honour to sing such personal songs from such a great songwriter.
Very humbling because they were Malcolm's songs to his family, you know, expressing his love and affection for and the tragic circumstances of him being terminal and leaving. So it was his last kind of musical expression.
The album Songs for the Family is due to be released on May 10th, with all proceeds going to the University of Otago's Centre for Translational Cancer Research.
Malcolm.
In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South today, we check out line dancing in the South and pack down with the Dunedin Rugby Club scene and another edition of Rugby Chat. So catch this and more after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Welcome back. Learning the moves and secret language used by Chinese line dancers was part of a workshop in Lawrence recently. It's hoped the town, which has a strong connection with Chinese gold miners, will see public line dances performed on special occasions.
1, 2, 3.
These 10 youngsters from Lawrence had their first of 3 workshops in the ancient Chinese technique of lion dancing. Instructor Lisa Hansen showed the class how to keep time with the music while eventually wearing a costume. She says lion dancing is a very physical activity.
So martial arts is a big part of lion dancing. It's about being fit so you don't hurt yourself and just controlling your movements.
But she also makes sure the volunteer dancers enjoy the process.
We make lion dance practice into games most of the time, and it's about the music, it's about the rhythm, and so if the kids get that, then yeah, everything else is easy.
Organiser Anne Cheng says the Lawrence community has recently purchased a lion called Leonora, with the potential of pairing up with Jimmy, Lawrence's Chinese dragon. She says the lion and dragon help build the connection with Chinese gold miners who worked in the region starting about 150 years ago.
The lion dance is a very traditional aspect of Chinese celebration, and Lawrence history is steeped in Chinese settlements during the Gold Era.
Once some of the dancing teams are up to speed, Leonora will be seen at local events such as Chinese New Year, as well as other celebrations and even birthday parties. In Lawrence, the South Today.
In this edition of Rugby Chat, rugby aficionado Paul Dwyer talks with 2 local players about their careers, as well as picking likely winners and losers for games being played around Dunedin tomorrow.
And I've decided to come to the top. 2 Otago boys with me today. I've got Dylan Nell, who's on his own has saved the Green Island Club and they're starting to win some games. And I've got Sean Withy, who's finally decided to come and play some rugby. Because he's been away with the Highland under 20s, and then he said, mate, what have you had? You had your tonsils out?
Yeah, tonsils removed.
I thought that was the thing you had when you were a baby.
No, I didn't know. I just got it done now.
Right.
Just discovered it.
So you're back this week?
Yeah.
You are?
Play a few minutes off the bench.
So you're coming off the bench?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk to you about your position because I'm very concerned about where you've been playing. So Dylan, though, mate, we'll bring you in. So look, Chiefs, so you were at the Chiefs last year?
Yeah, last year.
And they just dropped you?
Obviously wasn't...
too many loose forwards up there?
Too many loose forwards, yeah, they're pretty stacked, so...
So you're back, back, so when did you come back to town? You came back for the Otago season last year?
Yeah, correct.
And you've been here ever since?
Ever since,
What are you doing?
I was in with the Landers for about 2-3 weeks,
Yeah.
As injury replacement.
Yeah.
And then obviously Himeno came from Japan, so...
He's quite an impressive guy too, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's definitely impressed me.
Well, he was pretty impressive with them in the World Cup.
Yeah,
he was. He was good.
World class player.
So you'll be playing for Otago this year.
Yeah, correct.
Right. You're a signed player. Are you a signed player?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's come back to you, mate. So look, I think I read in the paper the other day because when I first watched you play, you were playing for Southland Boys, right? And you were playing open side there, and I thought that was your position, but you didn't really play open side much for Varsity, did you?
No,
well, mainly because
McHugh was there.
Yeah, he was the captain.
Yeah, so we had McHugh there.
So you played 8 most of the time.
Yeah, I played a lot of 8 because we had Sam Dixon at 6 and then McHugh at 7.
So that was that just a force of circumstance? Where do you prefer to play?
I prefer to play 7, but I think just the way it is, I've been able to play all 3, so I just get chucked wherever.
Right. So, you've just come out of that Highlanders, that under 20 tournament, that nationwide tournament. So where did you play most of the rugby in that tournament?
7.
You played at 7.
Yeah.
So I think are you going to commit yourself to 7? Because I think that's your best spot.
Yeah, I want to commit there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well look, boys, I'm just not quite sure. Kaikorai GI, I don't normally pick Kaikorai because I don't like them. So I might go GI as well. I'm thinking GI might just get up there on the top of the high veld. They'll be fit. Anything they know, they'll be fit. They might, and with Kaikorai having a week off, I'm just giving it to GI. Southern will be too strong for Zingers. The Zingers boys, they might get a couple of Highlanders back, but I don't think that'll be enough now that Southern have finally tasted victory. And Varsity AU, I can't see Varsity losing that game. I just think Varsity should be too strong. But AU, if they get enough ball, they'll be a menace. And in Dunedin Harbour, well, I'm not picking Harbour, but they're big. Salamau up front. They've got their Willie Tafui in the midfield. They've got this young kid Fine on the wing. We'll see how good they are. They should be too strong, but I'm picking Dunedin to get up and win by 2. And we'll be back with you again next week.
And you can watch the full interview online at odt.co.nz. Still to come on the South Today. Police hope to prevent increasing crime around Dunedin's bus hub as security cameras are finally activated. And we take a look at the weather heading into the weekend, so see you after the break.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Thanks for staying with us. It is hoped that activation of security cameras will curb the violence and disorder that has plagued Dunedin's bus hub. Increasing reports of fighting, drug and alcohol use and violent assaults at the hub have been made in recent months. It was revealed in March that the cameras at the site were not operating, making it difficult for police to follow up some incidents. Yesterday, the Otago Regional Council announced 7 of the 11 installed cameras are now working. A further 3 are expected to be operating by the next few days, and the remaining 1 has been sent away for repairs. Police say cameras could be an important tool for both the prevention and investigation of crime. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. An Otago Polytechnic lecturer and volunteer firefighter is preparing for a stair climb challenge. A new venue has been found for a popular museum exhibition which dates back many years. And friends of Dunedin musician and lawyer Malcolm Black prepare to release his posthumous album. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, editor Barry Stewart. What have you got for us tomorrow?
Hello, Melissa. We've got lots of stories tomorrow. Heading off with a $90 million shot in the arm is needed to turn Dunedin's Hillside Workshops into a world-class assembly plant, and that leaked documents have revealed that. So we've got that information, and we'll have further on that proposal in the paper tomorrow. Lots of stories through the week on some of the pain and suffering of cancer patients and concerns about delays in treatment for those people and even diagnosis. So it's a big issue in our area. We've put that to Health Minister Andrew Little, and he says it's high on his attention list. But he has no immediate plans to take action, so I'm not sure where we go from there.
Hopefully it's something they look at resolving pretty soon.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody's aware of the issues and the concerns, so the sooner we get onto that, the better. A group of Colac Bay residents living on the rugged patch of coastline, the bottom of the South Island, are worried about the future. Our local democracy reporter Matthew Rosenberg reports on that issue down there. It's a good little story. Highlanders coach Tony Brown is off to Japan, which, well, for one, took me by surprise, but I'm sure others were possibly on top of that. But Japan is set to play the Lions at some point, so lots of preparation for that, and he has a period of lockdown to sit through before he's allowed out. But never fear, he will still be looking after the Highlanders. He'll be working on their game tactics and strategies and plans remotely whilst he's in isolation. So he's going to be working on that. Our rugby writer Stephen Hepburn reports on how that is all going to work, and of course being Saturday, we have the mix, so lots of good reading in there. Readers and Writers Festival starts at the weekend, and we have a good feature story on that in the weekend mix tomorrow.
Wonderful, and you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time to have a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Today's southern view is the plaque for Hone Tūwhare in the Octagon. Looking at the situation, a mild northerly airflow will increase tomorrow but tend cooler southwest on Sunday as a weak trough of low pressure passes over the South Island from the Tasman Sea. Travelling to the northwest of the South Island, it's a wet, showery day for those in this region with gusty winds at times and 18 degrees for both Westport and Greymouth. Across to the northwest and north of the South Island, where it's a similar story. Nelson heads for 18 with a mostly sunny day and Blenheim 17 degrees with a bit of cloud. Moving down to Canterbury, expect a bit of wind and cloud across this region also. It's mostly cloudy in Kaikoura and Ashburton with 19 degrees and Christchurch is slightly warmer on 20 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all in for freshening northerlies with increasing cloud throughout the day and a high of 17 degrees. Travelling westwards to the southern lakes, all centres in this district can expect freshening northerlies with high cloud. Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra head for 18 and Te Anau will see a bit of rain later on and 16 degrees. Looking at the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru can expect moderate northeasterlies with high cloud. Timaru reaches 17 degrees and Oamaru 16. Further inland, Twizel and Amarama will see freshening northerlies, high cloud and 18 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with light winds with an overnight low of 9 degrees. Mostly fine tomorrow with thick high cloud and moderate to fresh breezy northeasterlies, looking at a high of 16 and a low of 10. And colder southwesterlies develop on Sunday morning with some cloud and maybe a few light showers, which will become fine on Sunday afternoon, a high of 14 and a low of 5. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with an overnight low of 4 degrees. Milder tomorrow with high cloud increasing during the day and freshening northerly winds, looking at a high of 17 and a low of 9. Some rain early Sunday with colder southwesterlies, which will become fine and sunny during the day with cool winds dying out, looking at a high of 14 and a low of 5. And that's all from the South Today team for this Friday and in fact the week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on YouTube and Facebook. Have a great weekend. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.